Hello everyone, my name is Oshina. Thanks for being here. Today I'm going to be sharing about some Christian fiction books that I think are appropriate for teenagers to read. So these aren't like actually young adult books, they are adult books, but they're Christian fiction and they have storylines that I think would appeal to teenagers. And then I also just think they have appropriate content for teenagers to be reading. I do have a couple other videos talking about actual young adult books, and so I'll link those down below. Anything that like might help, any kind of recommendation video I've done that maybe teenagers would like, I'll link down below, so check the description for more options. But for this video, I'm just going to share a collection of a few books that I would recommend right now, and I'll try to explain the content level so you can see if it's appropriate for you or your child. And hopefully this is helpful. I know, once again, that it is just really hard out there to find appropriate books for your teenagers. So hopefully these are good. I have recommended this book before for teenagers, and it's not technically Christian fiction, but it's The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. This book has a lot of faith content in it, and I don't know anything about Nicholas Sparks in terms of like what he believes or like whatever, but this book definitely has a Christian message in it. You follow this brother and sister who are going to stay with their dad for the summer. Their parents are divorced. The girl's name is Ronnie, and she doesn't really like her dad. She's mad at him. She doesn't want to be there, and she ends up like kind of making friends with the other kids in the town. And so she's a teenager. There is a lot of like teenage drinking that happens and like kind of stealing, drug use, that kind of thing. So that is present in this book, but it's shown as being like wrong, not desirable, not a healthy lifestyle. And Ronnie herself doesn't participate in any of it, but she is like, she goes to like a beach party, and that's in this book. But truly the way it was all presented, I felt like it was appropriate. I feel like it would send the right message to teenagers if they read this. And then there's such a great storyline of her reconciling with her dad and kind of seeing that develop. There is a romance as well. There's only kissing. I believe there's no language as well. There may be like HELL kind of thing level, but other than that, like there's actual no swearing in this book, which is so nice. And yeah, the romance is really sweet. There is a romance that you follow Ronnie's perspective, but all the other things around it, like again, the message, her relationship with her dad, it just was all done so well, and I thought it was all a really good message. So yeah, I would highly recommend this book to teenagers. I do think that it is a solid choice. So the rest are actual adult and actual Christian fiction. So what I also think teenagers would like is If I Run by Terri Blackstock, this trilogy. I do think that this is appropriate for teenagers, and I think that they could potentially like it. Most all of these books are recommendations for girls. I don't know if boys would like it. Some boys might like this book, but yeah, If I Run follows a girl who's on the run from the police, but that is not shown as like, I don't know, like it's all explained, so it's not like, you know, avoiding the police is shown as like good, you know. So anyways, and then there's no language, of course, and there might be a slight romance, but it doesn't even show up in this book. There is a romance later on in the rest of the books, but there's like no language, only kissing and all of that. But the faith content is really solid, and it's just a really interesting mystery. It's fast paced, and I just think that this would appeal to a lot of people. It may seem far-fetched and kind of like what this girl gets into, it's like, why would she do that kind of thing, but still it's entertaining, and I still think that a teenager would like this book. So I do want to recommend this whole trilogy, and I do think it's appropriate for teenagers. Okay, next up, I would recommend In Search of a Prince by Toni Shiloh. In particular for those girls who love royalty and would kind of like a romance. This is like pure romance. So basically this girl finds out that her dad was the prince, her dad was the prince. Yeah, okay. So this girl, she didn't know that she was actually a princess. So her mom is just living in New York with her, and her dad was a prince. And so her grandpa is the king of this place in Africa, and her grandfather, the king, is dying, and so she has to go there because her dad also is dead for some reason. So anyways, but it's basically a royalty romance where she didn't know she was royalty. She goes to Africa, all of a sudden she's like being pampered and stuff, and she's just a regular girl. She has such a strong relationship with God. She prays all the time, and it's shown on page, which was so refreshing. And she has to like find someone to marry by the end of this book. And so that is kind of silly, but it's very entertaining. I think a teenager would like it, and I think it's definitely like appropriate age level for a teenager. Wow, for a teenager to enjoy this book. And it has a really great message too about just like being true to yourself and not caring about rank, and just always trusting God with your heart. So yeah, I definitely think a teenager would like this. Okay, next up, I would recommend All Made Up by Kara Isaac. This is a dating show story. So I guess I picked books that like have kind of a fun storyline that might interest a teenager. I don't exactly know what teenagers are into these days, because like everything out there is very scary, so who even knows, but this might appeal to you. So basically, this girl is the makeup artist for a dating show, and her ex-boyfriend, I want to say, her ex-boyfriend is the new guy on this show, and they don't have enough girls to like fill the cast, so the director's like, please just join and we'll get you kicked off right away, but we just need another girl basically to make the number. And she's like, okay, fine. And then she doesn't know that it's him, so she shows up and she's like, and he's like, what are you doing here? And then he wants to keep her because he actually knows her and he wants her around just for support. So she ends up going through the show a little bit with him, and just seeing them reconnect was really fun. It was a fun story. Like, this is 4 stars. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but there's like pretty good faith content and like a good message about like not caring about reality, or like what getting sucked into like TV and just like image and stuff, and also just like being a good person and sharing your true feelings, being true to yourself. So yeah, it was really good. I would recommend this for teenagers. Hopefully someone would like it. Another great one with such a good message is A Broken Kind of Beautiful by Ganshert. So this one follows a girl who's a model, and I just think that this would give such a good message to teenage girls in particular. So this model, she is super famous, like she did so well, but she's turned 26, and that's kind of old for a model. And so she feels like all of her opportunities are starting to go away. So her last opportunity that she sees is modeling wedding dresses in her small town. So she's going back home to model some wedding dresses, and the photographer is someone she knew from the town. It's not a second chance romance. They were just friends. It is a romance between her and the photographer, but the growth that she goes through, because she's like extremely shallow and she's not treated well either. Like, she's treated like she's just a face and that she doesn't have feelings, but she has to learn what God says about her and the value that he has placed in her. And then she also does get a romance with the guy, and it was all so beautifully written, such a good message, and I do think that teenagers would like it. And then I also think it's a great message for them too, so definitely highly recommend this one. Okay, and lastly, if your teenager might like historical, I would recommend A Noble Masquerade by Kristi Hunter, because this book is super funny, and it was just so entertaining and easy to read. It was easy to understand. Like, this is Regency, but it wasn't like so much. Like, it was basically following the characters, and you follow this family who's like super rich, and each member of the family gets a romance. And so this is one of the sisters, and her story was just funny. Like, her brother comes home and brings this valet with him, but then he also has this best friend. And so there's like maybe 2 guys that this girl might be connecting with, but then there's like a twist that happens, and it was all very comedic. And I really liked the girl's personality. I feel like she was easy to follow, easy to like, and I do think that this could appeal to teenagers if they like Regency. Kind of like an alternative to Bridgerton. Like, if you're a teenager wants to read that or watch it, do not let them. This is better. Okay, this is fully clean and all the things. So yeah, those are the books though. I know it's a small list, like truly, I know how hard it is. I don't tend to read young adult or anything like that, especially within Christian fiction. I'm more of an adult reader, but these are the books that I would recommend that if you want to either pre-read them or check out my review on Goodreads or use this video. If you trust my opinion, I do think that these are all safe for teenagers to read. And I think that hopefully there's like enough variety here for something for your teenager to check out. The only actual young adult book is the last song. The rest are all adult, but still, I think that they're still relatable and maybe your teenager could like them. So yeah, and if you are a teenager, hopefully you like these. And please let us know what are your recommendations for young adult Christian fiction or just Christian fiction that teenagers might like. Or again, if you're a teenager, tell us what you like and tell us what is trending. I honestly don't know. I'm really more in the adult realm. And when I do see teenagers read, I'm seeing them read adult books. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, I get how hard it is. So I'm gonna write all these books down below, and again, I'm gonna link videos down below that I've done in the past that might be helpful with different recommendations. I have a whole playlist of recommendations as well, so check it all out. Hopefully you can find something. And yeah, thank you for watching this, you guys. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Hi, friends. So I